Picture this. I'm standing in the middle of a half-torn-apart office, surrounded by the chaos of construction, and the faint hum of a distant drill is the only sound breaking the late-night silence. My name's Katherine, and at 33, I've carved out a life that looks pretty put together on paper. But beneath the surface, there's a quiet storm brewing, one I can't quite name yet. I'm a project coordinator at a marketing firm right in the heart of downtown Chicago, and for the past 3 months, I've been neck-deep in managing a massive office renovation. It's the kind of project that could make or break my reputation here, so I've been pouring every ounce of myself into it. Late nights, endless emails, the works. Let me paint the scene for you. Our office used to be this sleek, modern space. Glass walls, open-plan desks, the kind of place that screamed ambition. Now, though, it's a war zone of plastic sheeting, scattered tools, and half-built cubicles. Every day, I navigate through piles of drywall and dodge extension cords just to get to my temporary desk. It's stressful, no doubt, but there's something oddly satisfying about seeing it all come together piece by piece. That's where Daniel comes in. He's the project supervisor we hired to oversee this mess, a man in his 50s with salt and pepper hair and a calm demeanor that somehow steadies everyone around him. There's an air of authority to him. When he speaks, people stop and listen. I've always respected how he handles things, solving problems on the fly with this quiet confidence that makes you trust he's got it under control. Whether it's a delayed shipment of materials or a miscommunication with the crew, Daniel's the one who steps in and sorts it out without breaking a sweat. I've caught myself watching him work sometimes, admiring how he commands a room without ever raising his voice. But it's not just the renovation weighing on me. There's home, too. I've been married to Mark for 5 years now, together for 8. He's 35, a sales manager for a tech company, always on the road or buried in client calls. We used to be inseparable, the kind of couple who'd steal moments just to be near each other. Now, though, there's this growing distance between us, like we're two strangers sharing the same address. I can't pinpoint when it started, but I feel it every time I come home late from the office and he's already in bed, or when he grumbles about my long hours but doesn't bother to ask how my day was. I get it. My schedule's been brutal with this project. Most nights I'm stuck here until the city lights are the only thing keeping me company through those glass walls. But it stings, you know? That lack of effort, that silence where there used to be warmth. I've tried to bridge the gap, to spark something, anything. But it's like we're just going through the motions, stuck in a loop of indifference. Every morning, it's the same old routine, and today was no different. I'm up before the sun, stumbling around our quiet apartment in the dim light, trying not to wake Mark as I fumble with my clothes. I'm already running late, as usual, my mind racing with the endless to-do list waiting for me at the office. I grab a mug of coffee, barely tasting it as I gulp it down, the bitter heat jolting me awake. Mark's still in bed, sprawled out under the covers, his phone glowing in his hand as he scrolls through whatever's caught his attention this time. I glance at him, hoping for a flicker of connection, maybe a sleepy good morning, but all I get is a half-hearted grunt. "See you later," I mumble, my voice flat, and he just nods without looking up. As I head for the door, I can feel the weight of his unspoken resentment hanging in the air like a fog I can't shake off. It's not just disappointment, it's heavier, sharper, cutting into me as I step out into the chilly Chicago morning. The drive to the office is a blur, my thoughts already consumed by the day ahead. When I get there, it's like stepping into a different kind of storm. The renovation site is pure chaos. Drills buzzing like angry hornets, workers shouting over each other to be heard, the sharp tang of paint and sawdust clogging the air. I weave through the maze of equipment and materials, my boots crunching on debris, my clipboard clutched like a lifeline. Every corner of this place is alive with movement, a constant push and pull of progress and setbacks. I'm in back-to-back meetings from the moment I arrive, coordinating with vendors who seem to have a new excuse every hour, and checking in with the crew to make sure we're still on track. Amidst all this, there's Daniel, steady as ever, a rock in the middle of the raging current. I catch him near the break room, his presence cutting through the frenzy like a calm wind. We're dealing with a delayed shipment of furniture, again, and I'm on edge, pacing as I vent about how this could throw off our entire timeline. But Daniel just leans against the wall, phone to his ear, his deep voice smooth and unshaken as he negotiates with the supplier. We'll have it by Thursday, no exceptions, he says, his tone leaving no room for argument. I watch him, the way he handles it all with such ease, and I can't help but admire that control, that quiet strength. It's a fleeting thought, though. I push it aside, chalking it up to stress, and dive back into the grind. Hours slip by in a haze of emails and phone calls, and before I know it, the day's almost gone. My phone buzzes with a text from Mark. Stuck in traffic. Gonna be late again. I roll my eyes at the screen, a familiar pang of frustration settling in. Another night, where I'll be home before him, waiting in an empty apartment. I shove the phone back into my pocket and refocus on the task at hand. It's well past 9 p.m. now, and the office is eerily quiet. The chaos of the day replaced by a hollow stillness. Most of the crew has gone home, leaving just a skeleton staff to wrap things up. I'm in the small meeting room on the third floor with Daniel, the only place with a functioning setup for us to go over the latest budget spreadsheets. This room feels like a world apart from the rest of the building. It's a tight, enclosed space, barely big enough for the long glass table that dominates the center. A whiteboard on one wall is scribbled with renovation timelines, arrows and dates overlapping in a frantic mess of marker ink. There's a single window, narrow and smudged, offering a view of the empty parking lot below, where the sodium streetlights cast an orange glow over the asphalt. The door is shut tight for privacy, sealing us off from the outside world. The late hour adds to the sense of isolation, like we're the only two people left in the city. Our chairs are pulled close together, almost touching as we hunch over the laptop screen, the harsh blue light illuminating our faces. Papers are strewn across the table, cost estimates, invoices, endless rows of numbers that seem to blur together the longer I stare at them. At first, our conversation is all business. I'm pointing out a discrepancy in the latest cost overrun, my voice clipped and professional as I run through the figures. We're over by 12 grand on the electrical work alone, I say, tapping the screen with a pen. Daniel nods, his brow furrowed as he jots down a note. I'll call the contractor first thing tomorrow. We can't let this spiral. We go back and forth like that for a while, dissecting timelines and crunching numbers, the mundane details of the project filling the space between us. But as the minutes tick by, the tone shifts, almost imperceptibly at first. He glances at me, his expression softening. You look exhausted, Katherine. How are you holding up with all this? His voice is low, genuine, and it catches me off guard. I hesitate, my fingers pausing over the keyboard. I don't know why, but I feel this urge to let it all out, to drop the mask I've been wearing for weeks. So I do. I start venting, the words spilling out before I can stop them. I tell him about the pressure of the renovation, how it feels like I'm carrying the weight of everyone's expectations on my shoulders. And then, somehow, I'm talking about home, about Mark, about the strain that's been building between us for months. It's like we're not even on the same page anymore, I admit, my voice quieter now, raw with an emotion I hadn't meant to show. I don't know when we stopped talking, really talking, you know? Daniel doesn't interrupt. He just listens, his eyes locked on mine with an intensity I haven't felt in years. It's disarming, the way he's so focused, like I'm the only thing in the room that matters. Then he leans back slightly, his own guard dropping. I get it, he says, his tone heavy with memory. I went through a divorce about 10 years back. It's a slow unraveling, isn't it? You don't see the threads breaking until the whole thing falls apart. His vulnerability surprises me. I've always seen him as this unshakable figure, but now there's a crack in that armor, a glimpse of the man beneath the calm exterior. The air in the room grows heavier after that, charged with something I can't quite name. Our conversation trails off and the silence stretches out, thick and suffocating. I'm hyper-aware of everything, the faint hum of the laptop fan, the dim light reflecting off the glass table, the subtle scent of his cologne lingering in the small space. His hand brushes mine as he points at a figure on the screen, and I'm driving home, the clock on the dashboard glowing 11 p.m., the streets of Chicago eerily quiet as I pull into our driveway. The house looms ahead, dark except for the faint flicker of the porch light casting long shadows across the yard. My hands are trembling as I grip the steering wheel, the leather cool under my palms, but it does nothing to steady me. My mind is a whirlwind, replaying the events of the night over and over, each memory sharper than the last. How am I supposed to walk through that door and look Mark in the eye? How do I pretend everything's normal when I'm carrying this secret, this weight that feels like it's crushing me from the inside out? I sit there for a moment, the engine ticking as it cools, my breath shallow, my stomach churns, a sick, twisting knot that won't let up, and my throat feels so tight I can barely swallow. Guilt. It's a physical thing, clawing at me, making my skin prickle with unease. I force myself to get out of the car, the cold night air biting at my face as I fumble with my keys. Each step toward the front door feels heavier, like I'm wading through quicksand, my legs shaky beneath me. I can still feel the echo of the night, the lingering warmth of a moment I shouldn't have let happen, and I'm terrified it's written all over me. I push the door open, the familiar creak of the hinges sounding louder than ever in the stillness. The living room is dimly lit by the blue glow of the TV, and there's Mark, slouched on the couch, a beer in his hand, his eyes fixed on some late-night rerun. He barely glances up as I step inside, and the indifference in that gesture cuts deeper than I expect. I drop my bag by the door, trying to steady my voice, but my heart is hammering so hard I'm sure he can hear it. "Hey," I manage, the word coming out smaller than I mean it to. "You're late again," he says, his tone flat, not even turning his head. There's a faint edge of annoyance there, the same one I've heard 100 times before, but tonight it feels like a spotlight, pinning me in place. "Yeah, sorry, just got caught up with some paperwork," I mumble, my eyes darting to the floor. I can't look at him, not directly. I'm too afraid he'll see right through me, catch the lie in my voice, or worse, notice something I can't hide. What if there's a trace of Daniel's cologne clinging to my jacket, that subtle, earthy scent I hadn't even registered until it was too late? What if he sees the way my hands fidget, the way I shift my weight from one foot to the other like I'm itching to run? I'm hyper-aware of every little thing, every word I say, every breath I take, every inch of space between us. It's suffocating. Mark just grunts, taking a sip of his beer, his attention drifting back to the screen. "You're always at work," he mutters, the words laced with that familiar resentment. Might as well move into that office. There's no real heat behind it, just a tired jab, but it lands like a punch. The irony stings, sharp and bitter, because he doesn't know the half of it. He doesn't know that work isn't the only thing keeping me away, that tonight wasn't about spreadsheets or deadlines. The guilt surges again, a wave that threatens to drown me, and I clench my fists at my sides to keep from unraveling right there in front of him. I'm gonna take a shower," I say quickly, already turning toward the hallway, desperate for an escape. My voice sounds hollow, even to my own ears, but he doesn't seem to notice. He just nods, barely acknowledging me, and I hurry away before he can say anything else. The bathroom door clicks shut behind me, and I lean against it for a second, letting out a shaky breath. I turn on the water, cranking it as hot as it'll the next morning. I wake up feeling like a shell of myself, hollowed out by the weight of what I've done. My eyes are heavy, barely open as I drag myself out of bed, the sheets tangled around me like they're trying to pull me back into some kind of oblivion. Mark's already up, moving through the kitchen with his usual mechanical precision, pouring coffee into a travel mug without so much as a glance in my direction. I mumble a weak "morning," but it's like speaking into a void. His response is just a curt nod, his jaw tight, and I can't tell if it's the usual distance between us or something more, something sharper. I don't have the energy to figure it out. My chest feels tight, like there's a vice squeezing it, and every sip of coffee tastes like ash in my mouth. We move around each other like ghosts, avoiding any real interaction, and I'm almost grateful for the silence. It's easier than facing the storm of guilt raging inside me. The drive to the office feels endless, each red light a chance for my mind to spiral deeper into the mess I've made. By the time I step into the building, the familiar chaos of the renovation greets me. Drills whining, workers barking orders over the noise, the air thick with dust, and the sharp scent of fresh paint. But today, it all feels suffocating in a way it never has before. I can barely focus as I weave through the clutter to my desk, my thoughts consumed by one thing: Daniel. Seeing him again after last night is a dread that sits heavy in my gut, like a stone I can't dislodge. I know he'll be here, somewhere in this maze of half-built walls and dangling wires, and the thought of facing him makes my skin crawl with a mix of shame and fear. The morning meeting with the team is torture. I'm seated at the far end of the temporary conference table, surrounded by colleagues discussing timelines and budgets, but all I can feel is Daniel's presence across the room. I don't dare look at him, keeping my eyes glued to the papers in front of me, pretending to scribble notes while my pen trembles in my hand. But I can sense him there, like a shadow I can't shake, his steady gaze burning into me even though I refuse to meet it. My chest tightens with every passing second, the air in the room growing thicker, heavier, until I'm sure everyone can hear the frantic thud of my heart. I'm trapped in this moment, caught between the mundane chatter of the meeting and the unspoken tension that coils tighter with every breath. When the meeting finally ends, I bolt for the hallway, desperate for a moment to collect myself. But fate has other plans. As I round a corner, there he is, Daniel, standing near a stack of blueprints, his expression unreadable. The hallway is empty, just the two of us, and the sudden isolation makes my pulse spike. I freeze, my feet rooted to the spot as he steps closer, his voice dropping to a low, urgent whisper. "Katherine, we need to talk. Later. Somewhere private." His tone is serious, almost grave, and it sends a jolt of panic through me. My mind races with possibilities. Does he want to revisit what happened, to pull me back into that dangerous territory? Or worse, is he planning to let this slip, to let the truth spill out where it could destroy everything? I manage a shaky nod, muttering something incoherent about finding a time before I hurry away, my heart pounding so hard it feels like it might crack my ribs. The rest of the day is a blur of mistakes and frustration. I'm a mess, my mind anywhere but on the tasks at hand. I fumble through emails, sending one to the wrong vendor with a glaring typo that I don't catch until it's too late. I misplace a critical set of plans, wasting half an hour searching through stacks of papers while the crew waits on me, their impatience palpable. My irritability spills over, sharp and uncharacteristic, as I snap at a coworker over a minor scheduling mix-up. "Can't you just double-check before you come to me with this?" I'm still reeling from the chaos of the morning as the day drags on, each hour feeling like an eternity. I'm at my desk, surrounded by the constant clamor of the renovation, but it's all background noise to the storm inside my head. I keep my head down, avoiding any chance of running into Daniel again after that tense moment in the hallway. Every time I hear footsteps nearby, my heart skips, thinking it might be him, coming to pull me aside for that private talk he mentioned. I dodge him at every turn, taking the long way to the break room, lingering in corners where I know he won't be. It's exhausting, this game of hide and seek, but I can't face him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. My mind is too tangled up in what happened, in the unspoken weight of that night, and I'm terrified of what he might say, what he might want. On top of that, I'm obsessing over Mark's call from earlier. He rang me around noon, his voice clipped and distant, asking again why I was so late last night. "Just curious," he said, but there was an edge to it, a suspicion I couldn't shake. I stammered through some excuse about a last-minute issue with the project, but I could tell he wasn't buying it, not fully. Now, as I sit here pretending to review reports, I can't stop wondering who might have tipped him off. Did someone see me leaving the office so late with Daniel nearby? Did a coworker mention something offhand, not realizing the weight it would carry? Or is it just my paranoia, amplifying every little thing into a catastrophe? I don't know how much Mark knows, if anything at all, but the uncertainty gnaws at me, a relentless itch I can't scratch. My phone sits on the desk, silent but menacing, like it's waiting to light up with another question I can't answer. The rest of the workday is a slog, my focus shattered. I'm barely present as I sign off on paperwork, my signature shaky, my thoughts elsewhere. By the time I leave the office, the sun is dipping low, casting long shadows across the city streets. The drive home feels heavier than usual, the weight of the day pressing down on me like a physical force. I grip the steering wheel tight, my knuckles pale, as I brace myself for what's waiting on the other side of the front door. When I finally pull into the driveway, my stomach drops. Mark's car is already there, parked neatly in its spot, which means he's home, earlier than I expected. I sit there for a moment, the engine idling, trying to steady my breathing. I don't know if I'm ready for this, for him, for the questions I can feel looming like storm clouds. I step out of the car, the cool evening air doing little to calm the heat of anxiety burning through me. As I approach the house, my keys jingle in my trembling hand, and I push the door open with a quiet creak. There he is, Mark, standing in the living room, arms crossed, his expression a mask I can't read. Not angry, not sad, just blank, like he's waiting for me to fill in the blanks. My heart thuds painfully as I set my bag down, forcing a small smile that feels like a lie on my lips. "Hey, you're home early," I say, my voice thinner than I mean it to be. "Yeah, I wrapped up early," he replies, his tone even, but his eyes are searching mine, looking for something I'm desperate to hide. "Thought we could talk." That word, talk, lands like a stone in my chest. I nod, swallowing hard, and follow him to the couch, each step feeling like I'm walking to my own trial. We sit down, the space between us feeling wider than ever, even though we're only a foot apart. The silence stretches, heavy and suffocating, until he finally speaks. "Katherine, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling like a stranger in our marriage. You're gone all the time, and when you're here, you're not really here." What? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.